Hey everybody, welcome again to the Artsy Dude channel. Thank you for tuning in. This is the place where creativity is more important than knowledge, but the acquisition of great knowledge, it's an art form, and the two, they go hand in hand. They do. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about Lue Elizondo today. You know, it's September, it's 2021, it's kind of rainy and overcast here in Florida. The sun's just starting to peek out. It's starting to cool down a little bit. We'll have to probably get into October before it really cools down. But I just got through watching and reading a couple of videos about Lue Elizondo. And he's in San Marino, Italy right now for a series of meetings and podcasts. And the rumor is that the Italians, or maybe the Germans, will be making an announcement soon. Perhaps upstaging the United States in this disclosure race. Yeah, it's a race now. Elizondo mentioned about 6 months ago to keep an eye out or keep on the lookout for a dark horse European country to make an announcement. And now he's in Italy. Is that a coincidence or what? I think not. Now I know there's a lot of Lue Elizondo haters out there. They think he's a psyop. Well, I'm not one of them. I think he's a stand-up guy. And there's also a rumor that the Vatican in Rome might be involved in this Italian or German announcement. It's all rumor until it's not. Well, wouldn't that be interesting? A craft landing in St. Peter's Square versus the White House lawn, so to speak. That would throw the world for a major loop, wouldn't it? You know, I've always maintained that the Vatican knows way, way more than they've ever let on. And with 1.5 billion sheep to their flock, you have to understand that they would have to be very careful about how they would roll this out, or position themselves, position the church in a situation like this. Maybe not. Maybe I'm overthinking it. But I've always thought that it would be the religious fanatics that would have the hardest time coming to grips with an alternate reality, with a reality of beings from another world, perhaps beings from our world that have always been here and are as natural to the earth as we are, maybe, but just much, much older and much, much wiser. There was an article that I read on Reddit recently by a user, and it was a fascinating article. It was very deep, and he posited that if the UFOs that we all see, the ones and the ones that crashed and that have been retrieved, are all manifestations of a higher intelligence trying to tell humanity something. That was his sort of posit. He suggested that the crash in Roswell and other places were close to nuclear facilities, which they were, or where nuclear bombs were invented and tested. He went on to say that the overarching intelligence, the universal intelligence, God, or whatever you want to tag it, was saying, look, I'm trying to give you these crash crafts so that you can start to reverse engineer them, figure out that there's this free, abundant energy on this earth. Energy that I've given you, and that if you learn how to use it, there will be no need for further nuclear weapons or war. But instead, our brilliant military-industrial complex, the MIC, they step in, confiscate, cordon off, swoop in, and they keep all of their crashes for their war machinations. And it's like this Godhead is saying, you're still not getting it. Those crashes were intended for the people of the world, not the military. So now the next step is about to ensue in terms of this intelligence's ability to show us what we're supposed to be doing. And this brings us back to Lue Elizondo again, being in Italy with perhaps an announcement that could be imminent. He says it's going to be huge. I know, he said it again. Who knows? Then there's the story of Angelique, if you've been following that storyline. Angelique is a woman who came forward about a month back and had a press conference at the National Mall in Washington, D.C. She apparently worked for the DOD or the government in some capacity. I believe she was an analyst. But she held this press conference and came out and said that she's been to a mountain in the desert southwest of the United States where she met a couple of different alien species with some friends. There's a longer backstory. She met them at their base, and they asked her to make this announcement in Washington and to bring back a consortium of people to document what she initially saw and whom she met. In other words, she's going back with a consortium of people. She's been interviewing some ex-astronauts, I understand, some investigative journalists. I think George Knapp might be one of them. Some photographers and other people who could go there with her and detail this, document this supposed alien base in the desert Southwest. Now that's an interesting story, and I'll tell you why. This woman, she held this press conference in the National Mall, as I said, in Washington, D.C. It probably wasn't well attended. I mean, I watched it, but nonetheless, she gave out all her personal information, her career track, her education track, and pretty much put her reputation on the line. She went way out on a limb, and that's a ballsy move for someone who's delusional or has an ambassador complex. So that's going to play out here in the next few months, few weeks, I don't know. Assuming there's this, group that will go with her. But there's this palpable feeling that something's about to happen. I mean, it's 2021 going on 2022. The original Nimitz videos that were released back in 2017 is ancient history. By now, time flies, doesn't it? Indeed. But I do feel like something's going to happen soon. I feel like in my heart and my soul. And I wanted to get this video out there and just document my feelings. I have a feeling in my heart that this is going to take on more than the nuts and bolts aspect that I've always wished for. It's kind of like Robert Bigelow says. They're here. They're right under our noses. It's like, oh my gosh. And maybe they are. And I wonder what that means. Is it like a DMT trip where there's a complete universe all around us going on and we just can't see it because it's out of our vision, out of our visual perception, our visual range of light and sound, audio sound? And then, here's another story, the Apostles' Creed. Ever heard of that? The expression Apostles' Creed, right, was first mentioned in a letter from the Synod of Milan, dated AD 390, referring to a belief at the time that each of the 12 apostles contributed an article to the 12 articles of the Creed. In the first couple of sentences of the Apostles' Creed, it goes kind of like this. We believe in one God, the Father, the Almighty, maker of heaven and earth, of all that is seen and unseen. All that is unseen, what does that mean? And then in another passage in the Bible, we read, every knee shall bend, both on the earth and under the earth. And that's in context to how humanity will bow down to God's great authority and power at some point in the future. On the earth and under the earth. What does that mean? Under the oceans? Are we talking about like the UFOs going into the oceans that we've seen recently? Are we dealing with principalities here? A dominion? A sovereignty? A reign? Are we talking about beings that are of the earth and are unseen but have always been here? Maybe are as natural to earth as we are? It makes you wonder, doesn't it? It does me. And I know there's a lot of people out there that's going to poo-poo this video because I actually brought up religion or the Bible or God. And yet some of those same people will latch on to something like blue avians, slave colonies on Mars, secret space programs, or even prison barges on their way to Guantanamo Bay with Hillary Clinton and President Barack Obama on board. Yeah, they'll latch on to that, but they won't believe in any of the ancient texts. Personally, I'll stick to the ancient texts and study those and try to keep an open mind. Anyways, some rambling thoughts. And so I'll sign off for now, and I thank you for tuning in. Appreciate you tuning in. I'm not in my studio. I'm actually sitting out in front of my house. So it's a little different video. Maybe at some point we can have an online discussion, because I learn a lot from reading what other people say. They put great ideas into my head. It opens up my mind to listen to other people's ideas, so I thank you for that. You guys take care now, all right? Bye-bye.